PlayStation! Hello, welcome to Game Rating Review. My name is Jean-Marc Lejean, and today I'll be talking about PlayStation's new VR headset. So, PlayStation released new specs for its new headset that will be coming out. Now, I was expecting a lot from this, and I needed to temper my expectations. Because I thought maybe they were coming out with like graphics, make it stream easier, you know, maybe something substantial. But no, it wasn't anything like that. They're basically making it to where when you turn off the headset, you can play games on your PS4 without needing to unplug it out of the PSVR box and then plug it into your PS4. You just can play it once you take off the headset and turn it off. And they made it to where your headphones are more integrated into the headset. That's all they really did. I was like, did they make it lighter? Did they make the fidelity better in the headset? None of that. It's more, I wanted to say it's like a 0.5 upgrade, but it's more like a 0.2. You know, it's not, it's more cosmetic and things that make it a little bit easier to have the headset, but nothing that actually makes the headset itself better. And I don't know why they're doing this. I wish they would have just waited until the better quality or the next step in PlayStation came out. I don't know why they did this 0.2 thing. And maybe they had concerns that that's the reason people aren't buying PlayStation VR. It's because there's little cosmetic things. Also, the PlayStation Move controllers are getting a minor upgrade where they're changing the ports on them. They're changing it from the mini USB to a micro USB. So, yeah, they're changing that with the remote. So these are very weird changes, very small changes. I wish they would make those things a little bit lighter because I think those wands are heavy. PlayStation made a gamble by going into VR. PlayStation showed early pictures that they'd been using the Move camera and these Move controllers to make a VR headset 10 years before they ever came out with a headset. Then when they realized that other people were making a headset or a VR headset, they decided, well, we're going to show them the thing we've been making, and they actually conceptualized it into an idea. And it was cool that they had it in their back pocket. It's crazy that they put money towards this for years and didn't do anything with it and just had it as like the secret thing. And then they bet, oh, it's VR time. It's time to go into the market. And thank God also that the PlayStation 4 was a success and that it is outselling the other consoles, or at least it was at launch. Now it seems like the Switch is winning, and Xbox is catching up with their release of their Scorpio or the Xbox One X. I don't know, PlayStation put a lot of money and a lot of time into this, and it shouldn't be an area where they should make mistakes. They really need to hone what they're doing, hone their message, hope that it speaks to people, and they need AAA games on that PSVR. I don't know about any games that are must play, and yeah, there's a lot of games where like, I love this game, but it's not getting me hooked to this VR device. I'm not just stuck on it like this is the thing, you know. People say they get their VR headset and they never play it. Still, they get their VR headset and they don't play it. And that sucks because people get their Switch and they're addicted to the Switch. And I've heard the same thing with Xboxes. Some people get their Xbox, they play their one first-person shooter with their friends, and then they don't really play it at all. So it's interesting that I think PlayStation VR wouldn't do as well if PlayStation wasn't on top, or at least doing well. They're not like on the very top anymore, but they're doing great. Don't get me wrong, but PlayStation VR they need to sell it better. I know they put the price down and that they're trying to bundle it and trying to get people in. It's an expensive piece of hardware. It is amazing. I played PlayStation VR. It blew me away. I was shocked after I played it. And it's just a whole experience. I love PlayStation VR, but everyone who's bought it has warned me that they played it for like a week. They played all of the games. They at least demoed each game on it, and they're like, good. And then they maybe try a new game that would come out every once in a while. Like I said, it was for that week that game came out, and they'd move on to the rest of their PlayStation games. From what I've seen of the library, PlayStation VR, they have some good games, but maybe they're not strong enough to move units. Like, if there was an awesome RPG, like there is Skyrim coming out, but I wish it had a dedicated RPG, like one that was amazing. Maybe an MMO on there would be awesome to meet people in a virtual reality MMO world. There's so many possibilities with PlayStation VR that aren't being explored by publishers because they're limited by this new technology, and they're limited by the hardware of the PlayStation and by how new the technology is. They've done it with the Move in the past, where all of their games had to have some sort of Move functionality. And it's like, well, if you publish a game for them, does it have to be a PlayStation VR version of the same game now? I mean, yeah, it would be cool to have Call of Duty in virtual reality. That would be amazing. It would probably suck because you're just looking around, you know, not being able to run as fast, play Twitch style, and, you know, shoot people as quickly, but it would still be fun to have a solid first-person shooter, a solid RPG. They do horror well. That's the only thing I think PlayStation has going for it, now that it's October, is that it does horror very, very well, that things can sneak up on you and you look and there it is, and that's great that it does that, and it has Resident Evil on it, which is amazing. It's just there's not enough content, and to do this level of progression, to go 0.2, it just seems like a mistake to me. And I thought, even if it was a substantial progression upward, even if it was a PSVR 2, it's still too soon to do it. You still need people to buy this VR, buy into VR, like VR, and get addicted to VR. And that comes with the games. And the games still aren't there. I've been screaming this for like 2 years now. Since I started this channel, I've been saying the games aren't there. The thing with the Switch, when it came out, I wasn't sure, but the games are there. I mean, you're getting the Mario. We got a Mario Kart. Sure, some of these are refabs, redone, Splatoon 2, Mario Kart 8, but you got the games there. The new Zelda's great. The new Mario's coming out. You have games there. And PlayStation VR just doesn't have it. And I'm not even talking about the other VR headsets, right? They're doing their own struggles. They're trying to cut costs so that they can get their VR headsets into as many homes as possible. What sucks about playing on the PC is you need a beast PC to be able to play these VR games. Someone somewhere needs to figure out this, and so many people are trying to get into VR and are trying to figure out how to make VR a viable thing that you can play in the future. If you're part of a big development company, it's like, well, we've been making games like this incrementally. We understand what it takes to make video games, and now you're going to VR, which changes the scope of how we've been developing games, because you have to wrap your mind around how you make games, how the person's viewing it in first person all of the time. And yes, there are some games that are third person, but that's a risk you have to make. Oh, you want a VR game where you're just watching this figure float around the screen, and this 3D figure, and which is cool, don't get me wrong, but it's not immersive 3D. You're not the person playing. It's not like what everyone always wanted, a Skyrim game in VR. But even that, with Skyrim, you have to teleport everywhere, and with Fallout, you teleport. You can't just walk around. And then we'll see when they come out if they're any good. And I'm not going to get into how Bethesda's milking Skyrim for everything that it's worth and not coming out with the next Elder Scrolls game. I want PlayStation to succeed. I want PlayStation VR to succeed. And I want people who own the PlayStation VR beg me to get it. There's no games, the hardware isn't quite there yet, and there's no developers on board for it. And if we had those three things, it would be a success. It is kind of turning into the Vita. The Vita shined because indie developers were able to port their games over to the PlayStation Vita, and it did well. But if you're an indie developer, what's the financial advantage of bringing your game to PlayStation VR? I mean, the development cost alone to turn the things that you've made into a virtual reality experience are a lot. And it's time consuming, and it's a lot of money, and it's a big bet, and it's a big gamble. And there are new games out for PSVR all the time that I'm just like, all right, cool. It's a new game. And I feel bad for those developers And I feel bad for PlayStation. They took a risk. I mean, you could say that it failed, but they're still making games. They're still selling units. Everyone asked that question. When I was looking for information about the new PlayStation helmet, everyone asks, is it a good time to get the PlayStation helmet? Is it a good time to get PlayStation VR? People are interested in it, but they're afraid that they're going to get burned by it and that it won't be good enough. And I don't know. I don't think so. But I loved it. I want to own one. I would play it, the poop out of it, right? I would. But is it this system as a must-have? I don't know. Are they making mistakes? I think so. And I do think it's too soon to be doing stuff like this. I think they should have just left it in the market for one more year. Let the games speak for it. Let the games come out and let the games be what people want to come to with PlayStation VR. So we'll see. Please hit the like, subscribe button if you feel like what you see. My name is Jean-Marc Lejean. This is Game Rating Review. And that was just my opinion on how I think PlayStation's messing up with virtual reality.